What's up, SAMRO? So, I have had my fair share of run-ins with SAMRO, as an organization, as an artist, and also as an administrator. So my experience with SAMRO it's been a tricky one, but yeah, I'm gonna try and just advocate for them a little bit, just because I have earned royalties. I am one of those people who have actually earned royalties from SAMRO, and I would say that it's a good amount. It's a really really good amount, but I think it's just because I understand that a system like royalties is very long term. Building up that stream of income is very long term, and when I don't get answers, I usually go and find them. So that was something else that I think that I don't want to knock the entire industry, but creatives tend to be quite impatient when it comes to matters of administration. And that's actually why I ended up starting an administration company that assists people with their registrations. But that's another story for another day. Today, we're focusing on SAMRO and its benefits. So, SAMRO, Performance Rights Organization, sure, all the stuff. You can go Google them, have a look at their website. And look, they have done a lot in terms of their systems. I've been a SAMRO member since 2008, 2009. I think it was 2000. I started in 2008, ended up in 2009 becoming a SAMRO member. But that was only because I think I had to fax my information through. Imagine, 2008 faxes. I had to fax my information through to SAMRO, and there was an issue with the ID that I faxed. It was too dark. So I had to ask the guy to fax again, but change the settings to make me lighter. So yeah, a little funny story there. But I ended up becoming a SAMRO member. At that point, it was like touch and go between people who got acceptance letters and people who didn't. The admin was really poor. It was really poor. Sometimes it was done, sometimes it wasn't. They wouldn't contact you back. They would, it was just a mess. You couldn't get through to them. It was just a lot. So, yeah. Fast forward, I think my first royalty payment came through in 2013, towards the end of the year, maybe to the beginning of 2014. I remember I was at work. I was in a meeting. Mind you, I registered in 2008. I tried getting my music out there. I failed, and I failed, and I failed, and I failed from 2009 to 2014. So that's 5 years before I got a phone call from SAMRO to say, yo, I know it's been a minute, but we need you to update your banking details. I was like, what? Why? They're like, no, there's a royalty payment that's supposed to come your way. We just need to ensure that you are who you are and you still have that account. So please send that information through, and you will get your payment. So I was like, this is a scam. I didn't really understand what was going on, but it was cool. It was whatever. I'd actually started getting my music played on TV in certain adverts. That's when it first started. So I was like, oh my gosh, my first royalty check. Let's go. So at that point, I don't know if they had online bank confirmations that you could just download. Anyway, I got one from the bank, and then I sent it through. At this point, I think we could scan. I emailed it to SAMRO, and a few days later, 300 Rand in my bank account. I was like, okay. 300 Rand did mean more back then. It was like 10 years ago. But it wasn't that much more than what it means now. So 300 Rand, I was like, for all that hard work, 5-6 years, so what? So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to keep on trying to release music, and maybe it will get better. So I carried on releasing music, sending it to my publisher, carried on releasing music, trying to collaborate with artists. I did everything that I could to get out there. And the following year, I got a payment one day. I remember, I don't know where I was, but I just remember the feeling I had when I opened up my phone and I saw 3,000, not 300. There was a whole zero that was added, and I was like, man. So this actually is possible. Now it wasn't like change. Now it was like money. It went from being just, chump change to being a little bit of money. And I was like, if I carry on working hard like this, maybe I can add another zero onto this thing. And that wouldn't be bad. I mean, even now, no one's going to turn their nose up at 30K. So, why not try? So I did it. I carried on going, carried on going, carried on going. And then what I realized at that point was that it would be tough for me to get that number up to 30K. Not impossible, just tough. Reason being that SAMRO does their payments over multiple times during the year. Sometimes for foreign, sometimes for radio in general, sometimes for TV sequencing. It's all over the place. And my music was all over the place. The more avenues I tapped into, the more spaced out my payments became. So it wasn't that one TV sequencing payment was going to rise and rise and rise and rise. It was a case of those TV sequencing ones would rise, but then the radio in general ones would also go up. The internet one would go up. The foreign one would go up. All of them started to go up. And then what it started to become was I then had to go onto the SAMRO website. At this point, I had the wherewithal to go onto the SAMRO website and say, why am I getting paid 2 Rand today? Next month, I'm going to get 30. 3 months down the line, it's going to be 3,000. And it's just going to fluctuate throughout the year. Why is that? So then I went and I saw the distribution schedule. And I was like, actually, there's a system here. Everybody had always told me that SAMRO is just in disarray. They don't know what they're doing. They just hadn't gone onto the website to see the system in play. So I looked and I was like, okay, cool. So the stuff works. So then at that point, I was then able to track. And more or less on the date that they said they were going to do that payment, they would do that payment. And that's when I started to say, actually now, let me take all this information I'm getting and put it into an Excel spreadsheet. I collected all of my SAMRO, what do you call these things? What do they call them? Distribution statements or whatever it was, with the amount of money that I'd earned from SAMRO. Cool. So looking at them, I took all the numbers, tabulated them, put them in an Excel spreadsheet, and I was able to compare years and payments. So TV payment, is it improving? Is it getting worse, right? That then moved to one app, which then moved into another app, and then I finally settled on one called, I think, Money Manager or something like that. So I was then able to pull up, I type in the search thing in the app, SAMRO, and all of my SAMRO payments popped up. Then I was able to say, last year for this same payment, I got this amount of money. Last year I got this amount of money. So I was able to see whether or not I was improving. And I improved, I think, up until maybe 2017, 2018. Then I sort of hit a bit of a plateau. And then, it's sort of just been up and down from there. I've continued to put music out, not as much as I was doing back then, just because of life and all the other ventures that I'm in. But I continually try and get music out there to be played in certain places and just try and get new forms of revenue. I do believe that royalties is something that's going to continue to pay me for a while. It might not be the same amount of money in the future, but it's still going to be quite a bit. So I'm happy to continue working towards building up that stream of income. So I say all of this to say that it is not a scam. SAMRO is not a scam. You do get paid your amount. SAMRO do get paid as well, right? Remember, they are an organization. They have upkeep costs. They've got staff, people that need to get paid. It's a whole organization, and sure, they're going to function as such. So sure, I understand that there will be a fee that goes off to them. I also understand that my music publisher does a lot of work with regards to my publishing, my marketing, getting my music out there. So I understand that there's also going to be a cut that they're going to take, right? And I just have to be okay with that. If you're not okay with the fact that, sure, you might have been the one who made the money, made the music, but you're not necessarily going to make all the money because there are players involved in the system. It's just all got to do with, first of all, how much of the pie are you going to be able to cut out and give people pieces, or, have people put their hands into your basket to collect from your hard work. But remember, they're also working hard. I always believe if someone's working hard on my hard work, then let's work hard together and we break bread together. Why not? And with that philosophy, I was then able to say to myself, look, let me get more music publishers. Let me get my music out there more. Let me start playing around with the percentages, not negotiating, but saying like, does this percentage make sense for me? Yes, no, cool. Look at the contract. Am I happy with it? I can do better and go elsewhere, right? So that's the sort of the game I've been playing. But yeah, it's been interesting because I've learned a lot of other things. First of all, most people aren't registered with SAMRO. Second of all, those people who are registered with SAMRO have not earned more than 100 Rand, so they're still sitting as prospective members. It's crazy. But like, and this is all information I picked up just because I've spoken to so many artists, and I'm like, yo, man, what's the story? And they're like, yeah, man, we'll break bread, we'll earn royalties. I'm like, oh, what? Are you a SAMRO member? Are you a member of anything? You can just tell them, just like, this person, they don't have their admin in order. They're like, nah, I've been meaning to get that admin done. I'll get it done after the release, or I'll get it done later, or, I just need to get someone else to do it for me. That's usually where the conversation ends, because I don't have the energy or the capacity to deal with that. Obviously, until I got the admin company going, in which I actually then decided to get stuff done for people. Then there's other little offshoots of SAMRO, like the pension fund, and they have a little education like subsidy. Can I call it a bursary? I don't know if they're still running it at the moment, but they had a bursary with Boston, and it's education. There's music business education, and it's good stuff for people who need the information. They also have the Music Creators Fund. I got it completely wrong. But anyway, MCFS, MCFS, something like that. Basically, what happens is once a year, there are 100 people who get, well, now, as of 2023, I think they've done it 4 times. It's a creation fund, and there's money that is then handed out. Obviously, you have to go through a process of, it's not an interview, but you have to fill out an online form, and you state your case. You tell them what it is that you need this money for. It's 25K, I think it is. You tell them what you need this money for. Be honest about it. Tell them what it's going to do, how it's going to help your music career. I've gotten it once. I don't know if I'll ever get it again, but I had to explain exactly what I was going to do with it. And you have to put time and effort into it, because if you don't, you are not going to get the money. You can't just say, I'm going to release an album. No, that's not going to work. You have to put time, energy, and effort into your proposal so that you stand a good chance. Also, it just shows that you care. They just care about you. People talk about getting all these opportunities and stuff. Even if you're going to go take that money, maybe make 3 songs and the rest of it you're going to do whatever, at least care enough to put together a decent proposal. And then also you have to follow through, because at the end, you present your product to say, this is what I spent your money on. Here you go. So there's that. Then there's the pension fund, which is, I think, a nice little touch, just to say that we will be there with you for the journey, and we will be responsible on your behalf, and we will take a little bit of your earning and we'll put it over there. You can come fetch it when you turn 60. Why not? I mean, they're there. Why not get that done? They'll invest it. They'll make, they might earn interest, whatever it is, but they're assisting you with that. So, all in all, my experience, although there have been points in time where, about the admin, they have improved. They've brought in many mechanisms and I've seen the strategies. I've just been watching in the sidelines. I've seen the strategies improve with regards to how they deal with their clients, ticketing systems, and, being a little bit more responsive. It's weird. It's also, I've also felt a little bit more welcome, if that makes sense. In the beginning, I almost felt like I was wasting their time whenever I phoned SAMRO. There's just the demeanor. And it was tough for me I'd always ask my question, like, I've got this problem. But now it's different. I can tell, and kudos to them for doing that. They have introduced a 100 Rand membership one-off. It's a once-off fee that you pay. It's 100 Rand. For me, that's nothing compared to what you should be imagining that you will get. It's 100 Rand. Just pay it. Just call it a day. You pay your money. You're done. They will make use of the money to try and better services for all of us. Cool. And this is something that was introduced earlier this year. So for all those people who are like, we'll get to my SAMRO, well, now there's a fee. So it's going to be even more difficult for you to get up and actually go and fork out money to get this thing done. But just get it done. Who knows what's going to happen next? Your song might blow up somewhere, and then there's royalties there to be collected in any case. So why not? Just get it done. I'll deal with like misconceptions and all that other stuff in a different video. I think for this one here, just the scope of why I believe I can speak on this topic. I've been with them for such a long time. I don't know if they know that I've been watching, trying to educate people and all of that. But I do run a voice note group every single Thursday. I give out information. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know. Otherwise, you can just stay here on YouTube. I'm doing a lot more video content now. So yeah, you can hit me up, and then I will be able to help out where I can, when I can. And yeah, that's it. Peace.